What is up, Wretched Nation? Back here on YouTube with a video that didn't quite go the way I had hoped. Alright, so we have the stock handlebars off the roadglide, and we have a new set of handlebars on there. I had planned to kind of take you guys along the way with me, but that didn't quite work out as planned. This took 8 days to do. Mainly because of some incompetence and just trying to learn things along the way, but we got it done. First and foremost, these are the stock handlebars. I believe they're 12-inch Harley bars. Biggest problem with these bars really is the droop. If you're looking at them, they sit kind of like this, and that handlebar comes way down. Now, you can kind of fix this on your own. Let me set it up for you. There's a pin on the back side. You see that right there? Now that is actually on the clamp mount that's under this cluster. And what you do is you take a hammer and a punch. I use the socket extension and just tap it. It goes straight down, and then you can rotate these bars however you like. That's something you can do to the stock bars. It's not too hard. You pop that ignition switch off, which you don't take any tools for that. You have these little clips on the back side. Hell, I need to tighten that up. I just realized that was loose. And you're good to go there. I actually might pop that off because I do need to rotate these bars back. So let's actually pop everything off and show you a little bit of that, because I need to rotate these bars anyways, and I can talk a little bit about this. Alright, we got the switch off. It's pretty easy. All you use is the key. It's a little tab on the back that you push up and you turn the key. There's lots of videos out there show you how to do it. Best way to do that is just look up that video. You can just Google 2018 roadglide ignition switch. I think it's from like 16 or 15 and up, something like that, but it's super easy. But we take that off and take this shroud off so we can access the bolts. Like I said, we'll talk a little bit, and I'll go ahead and pull my bars back a little bit. Alright, so we got the cluster loose. It's just 2 screws on the side. You have 3 plugs in the back of the cluster. There's your clamp right there. And then I don't know if you can see, but you got your main wires there, plus a wire there. And that's pretty much it. I went with 14-inch bars. Kind of wish I went with the 12s. 14s will be okay. The 12s would have been just as fine and less hassle. But you can get by without extending anything. That being said, I had to actually take my bars to a buddy's shop. I could not get the wires run through these bars. Me and a friend worked all day on it, and we just could not get it done without cutting everything up. And I didn't have a soldering gun. I didn't really want to cut everything up and do all that, so I decided that take it to a buddy's shop, get him to run the wires. He did all that for 75 bucks, and it was well worth it in my opinion. And we threw everything back on, but everything just plugs back in. And what I'm going to do is I'm going to loosen up them 4 bolts, and I'm going to slide it back just a hair because they're a little bit too far forward for me. That's all preference and how you ride and how it works for you. One other thing, these clamps here, I think they're called Perch Mounts. They call them Perch Mounts, but they have a little nub right about here, and that needs to be ground down. If your bar does not accept that. Mine did not. And where that's coming from is that hole right there. It's actually going in there. I don't know if it's a safety requirement now or something that's Harley's doing, but there's pins all through the stock handlebar where nothing can move but so much. I don't know what the deal is with that, but if all of that stuff was not there, you'd have more adjustability and it would be a better bike in my opinion. But we're going to loosen this up, get it moved in the position I want, and then we'll hop on the bike and take it for a ride. Alright, we got everything tightened up. And I had the old windshield on here because when I first put these bars on, the Memphis shades, I think this is like a 12 and a half inch, would not fit. The bars were a little bit more forward and these were hitting. So with a little bit more back, I had almost enough room. If I took these off, I'd probably be fine, but I like the look of these, and especially being above the fairing in the wintertime, I'm hoping they help a little bit, keeping the hands warm. So I just kind of cut in here and cut this out. It's not perfect, but you probably couldn't even tell, like, unless I said something. So unless you actually in person looking at the bike, you probably see it, but it's good enough. I do need to take this thing off and clean it real well, but I don't have time. I've got to make it to the post office within the hour, get some stuff shipped out. So let's put all this stuff up, hop on the bike, and go for a ride. Alright guys, we're out on the road, and I got to get moving here because I got an hour, less than an hour, to get to the post office. Now, it's not that far away, but I got to get moving to get there. I had 2 orders pop up today, and if whenever possible, I'm going to do same-day shipping. I pride myself in trying to get shipping out as soon as possible, so that's what I try to do. Luckily, I had free time today. I saw the order, so we're going to get it put in and get it sent out. But we got these new handlebars on. Now, I rode it last night to see how it felt, and they were a little bit too far forward. I didn't really care for the feel of them. I knew I was going to be having to bring them back, and the funny thing was, I had a check engine light, and I was like, oh shit, you know, after everything I've gone through to get these bars on. Let's just recap real quick. So I got these bars, got them in. They are FXR design, or no, sorry, they're FXR division handlebars. They're called the Motor Witch bars. I got them from Rogue Industries, and it's a great bar. It's supposed to be the mix between apes and T-bars. It's supposed to feel like T-bars, but still give you the view and everything that you need for your entertainment system and your gauges, which was kind of important to me because I didn't want to get these T-bars and then not be able to see any of my gauges. I'm already blocking my voltage gauge and my gas gauge a little bit, but that's not that big of a deal. I want to be able to see my speed, RPM, and most importantly the dash. If I decide to use the GPS on there, I want to be able to see it. And you know, if I'm changing music or doing whatever, I want to be able to see it. I paid a lot of money for a bagger. I want to use that stuff. Because this is by no means a performance bagger or anything like that. It is definitely a utility vehicle. So I need function before anything else. We did throw on a set of Avon Grips. I don't know which ones they are, because the funny thing about these, I actually bought these grips like 4 years ago. I've had these grips for a very long time, before I even bought this bike. And how that happened is I bought these grips for my Dyna, and I accidentally clicked the throttle by wire, and I didn't realize it. So when they came in, I got them really cheap, and when they came in, I realized my mistake, and you know, I double checked my email, and sure enough, you know, I had ordered the throttle by wire. So it didn't make any sense to me to ship them back and try to get a refund. They weren't that expensive, and I knew I was eventually going to need a bagger. Didn't think I'd get a brand new one, but I knew that more than likely I would get a new enough one that would have throttle by wire. And if not, I mean, I could probably sell them to somebody for 20 bucks. So these sat around for a long time. We threw these grips on when we did the bars. But me and my buddy took these bars apart, and the stock bars apart, and that wasn't hard. It was pretty quick and easy. But
trying to fish the wiring through was a nightmare. We got the clutch side pretty easy because it's just 2 wires. But this side is 4 wires. Now, one of them you don't need, more than likely, is a throttle by wire. I mean, not throttle by wire, a heated grip wire. And if you're not going to use it, you don't need it. But those wires are not going through this bar with the clip still attached, with the pins or whatever you want to call them. It's just not going to happen. We worked all day on it. It was a Sunday. We worked all day. And my guy who's got a motorcycle shop, a local motorcycle shop, support your local guys. They are more than likely going to do things faster and cheaper than maybe some of your big stores. Not that Harley dealership isn't bad, but don't forget the little guys. Support them. But I usually take all my stuff to him. He always helps me out. He always gives me advice. We were friends anyways. And he's not that far from my house. I mean, his house is at his shop. It is a legitimate shop. His shop's on his property. And it's probably like 15 minutes from my house. So, not bad. Not a problem to go up there and hang out and do whatever. And I don't mind paying a little bit of money to have him do stuff and, you know, put money in his pocket. So, texted him, and his shop's closed on Sunday, Monday, so I think he was out of town anyways. But got up with him on Tuesday. He said bring the bars, brought him up there, and he looked at them. He did the wiring for me. He cut them. He cut the wires, pulled it through. He extended them just a little bit to make it a little easier to plug everything in. And I bet you, at least on this side, I could probably go with 16s now, which I would not do. But he gave me a little extra length, put everything together, so the bars were ready to drop right on, you know, minus these pieces that I had to put together. I didn't give him grips or anything. $75, so that's not bad at all. He charged me $200 to do the full bar set on my Dyna, which we deleted the turn signals and put them inside the bar, so he had to do extra wiring there. So I felt like that was a good deal. And then charging me $75 to do the hard part on the bars, not bad at all. I'm definitely okay with that. So we got the bars back. He had them done the next day, but I was working that day. I couldn't get to them in time, and I knew I couldn't put the bars together that day anyways. I was going to have to wait till the weekend, so I didn't rush up there. But he had them done the next day. He was actually working on them that night. I don't know if he was done that night, but he texted me that the next day and said they were ready to pick up. So, happy about that. Good service. But got the bars back, and yesterday, which would have been Monday for me, me and my buddy go to put these together. We got some stuff done in town, and we waited way too late to get these put together. And we were working basically into the night. We made a joke about working by candlelight. We did everything we could by like flashlight and, you know, the little lights in the garage, because I don't really have a shop, nor do my garage has like just a couple outlets. It's pretty poorly designed, but that's how they made it. And the filming was just not an option. And I did capture some film from pulling it apart, but just having all that stuff not putting it back together, I just thought the video would be kind of stupid, so we're just kind of doing it this way. But we got the bars back together. These perch mounts, had to knock the little pin off. I used a die grinder, not a die grinder, a Dremel tool to get in there, and I knocked them off. And then the biggest thing was just piecing everything back together. Now I don't know if you can notice on the camera, but we did trim the windshield. The windshield is just a little too tall. We could have used a smaller windshield, but I don't really want to pay $150 right now. And I had the stock windshield on there last night, but the buffeting and the wind that pops up is just terrible. Not that I don't mind wind in my face, but with the stock sound system, you can't hear the radio that much, especially with a full face. So I don't know if you can tell on the camera, but we have chopped the right side, because the right side's actually got a little bit longer hand guard. One of them comes longer. It's designed for the clutch, but it doesn't matter on this. I don't know if it matters on like my Dyna, but I can't, when I pull the clutch, it doesn't interfere anyways. So the right side's actually a little longer because it just ended up on the brake side. That's where I threw it. So I chopped this right here, and I just basically sanded it down with that Dremel tool, and then went back with like a 500 grit block to smooth it out. It definitely doesn't look great. From the front, I don't really notice it, but from the back, I can tell. But I'm going to Bike Week in 2 weeks, so I've got to get this bike completely lined out. I need to get it cleaned up and get it packed and ready to go for Bike Week. So I don't have a whole lot of time, and I'm spending a lot of money to go down to Bike Week because we're going to be there for like 7-8 days. So if you're going to be in Myrtle Beach Bike Week, leave a comment. Definitely check us out. We'll be down there. But the bike ride's great with these bars. Now, like last night, I was a little discouraged. I had these pushed a little far forward because I just kind of set them how they felt on the bike sitting, tightened them down, and called it good. Went for a little ride with my buddy, and my arms were getting tired pretty fast, and I knew that was, on that short little ride we did, that was not going to work out. But I knew I was reaching pretty hard for the bars. So, and we're actually a little bit forward than the forks are. And for your best performance, you do want them completely in line with your forks. So today, pop the bars back a little bit, and with them forward like they were never going to work with this windshield. So we popped them back a little bit, got them in line, and the windshield that was hitting, so at full lock. So I was like, all right, we can clear this. But pulled it back a little bit, got them pretty much straight in line with the forks. It's perfect for my arms and my hands. I can already tell a gigantic difference just in riding, how they feel. They don't feel super wide like apes do. They don't have that droop like most apes do. It just literally feels kind of like a T-bar. I love it. I'm rolling 90 miles an hour and it feels great. I think a lot of it to do is putting that windshield back on, and maybe even having these, it's cutting the wind so you don't have that pounding wind in your chest like you would do with high bars and nothing in front of you. They're kind of just cutting through the air pretty easy. You're not feeling it on your chest. So I had some graphics on these guards, just some vinyl graphics. I had Wretched on there. We're going to change it up a little bit. I'm going to put my Instagram tag on the windshield for when I'm down in Myrtle Beach. You know, do some shameful plugs. Got to. But this this handlebar setup, I think, is perfect. I'll leave a link in the description of where the bars. They do say on the website that 12 to 14 inch bars will work with all factory stuff, and that's true. It will. Your clutch line and your brake line are zip tied to your triple tree, or your what little riser mount is there. You do have to cut those. because you barely have enough length for these two lines. 12-inch probably won't be a problem, but what screws you up is the factory bars. I do believe are 12-inch bars, but they drop down so hard that they're just not going to work. If they were 12-inch straight from Harley, I bet you a lot of people wouldn't even change the handlebars. But these bars in a 12-inch are probably a drastic change from the stock 12-inch bars, because these 14-inch sure are. I don't recommend going to a 16. I feel like it's going to put you way too high, depending how tall you are. I'm about 6 foot tall, and hopefully we're not going to get pulled over here. But I'm about 6 foot tall, and it's not bad for me. Let's see what happens. Doesn't look like it, but we're going to slow on down. But we were definitely going way too fast. Alright, let's just cruise from here on out. It's hard to go slow on this bike, I swear it is. Usually I have to drop down to 5th gear just so I can hear them RPMs up kind of high, so I know that, like, I'm going. Because I feel like, and that just might be my riding style, but, like, especially on, like, a highway, I'm usually rolling 80, 90 miles an hour, and like it's nothing. Even on the dyno, maybe I ride too fast, I don't know. But anyways, back to this bar setup. I think it's a great bar. Definitely check them out, 12 to 14-inch sizes. Anything higher than that, it does say it's made to order, so you have to wait. Depending on how tall you are, again, I'm 6 foot tall. I don't think you really need to go above the 14s. Even if I were a couple inches taller, it wouldn't be a problem. I don't know if you can tell on video, but my arms are actually slightly going up, and it's better to have them level. But either way, I think it's a great bar. I'll link it down below. And comment, let me know what you think about these bars. How do they look compared to the stock bars? I got a couple videos of riding around with stock bars, and you can see from the cockpit how they look. Let me know, what do you think? But I'll try and do a video about yeah, let me know what you think. Please like the video, comment, subscribe. Pulling up here at the post office, going to drop this stuff off. Thank you for everyone who orders anything from the Wretched site. We do have a news drop coming October 1st. That's going to be on the clothing website. Definitely keep an eye out on here and our Instagram, which is Wretched Clothing _. You can find it just by searching Wretched Clothing. But definitely check us out. And as always, keep it wretched.